What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another video. This is for Diablo 4. I was about to say Dragonflight video, but that's not what's happening here. I really am excited about Diablo 4. We've had one day of play so far in the early access, and it was like the smoothest launch I've ever seen in my life for any Blizzard game. They absolutely nailed it, knocked it out of the park. So kudos to Blizzard for their knocking it out of the park today and yesterday, and just having a great day one experience. I've had a lot of fun with the game so far. I've barely even explored it, barely scratched the surface, but I wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks, some little things that I've kind of picked up as I've gone. I'm sure you've seen some of these things as well, but I just want to confirm them for you. There's some really awesome tips and tricks that I'm going to give you here. Gold, experience pots, some chests, stuff like that. So let's talk about kind of all my day one findings, and hopefully this can help you in your experience in D4. I mean, look at this map. It's so big. First of all, I will say right now, there's events that are going on. And these are not like endgame Helltide events or anything. They're just called Gathering Legions. I actually got into one, and they're good. They're actually just an enormous like XP gain. So basically the event has a countdown like this, and then it begins, and then there's like waves and waves of monsters you have to defeat, and then multiple bosses, and there's like 2 chests at the end. They're really worth doing. So if they pop up in the zone that you happen to be in, I would go and do it for sure. It's not worth like traveling all the way across the continent if you haven't discovered that area yet, but they're still worth doing. So that's tip number 1. The fastest route for getting somewhere, if you don't know, you can just right-click everywhere on the map, and it will show you the fastest way to get there, which is really, really good. So if you're trying to get to like a quest like this, right now it's going to show me that the quickest way is to go here. But what you're going to want to do is likely teleport yourself to the closest town, use your eyeballs to grab the closest town possible, and then right-click on the place where you want to go, and it will give you a potentially new route that you didn't realize was there before. And even if you haven't discovered any of this area, the game knows where you're trying to go, and so it will send you down the most efficient path to get there. So right-clicking everywhere is really, really nice. Yes, we don't have an overlay map, but I actually like that way, way more. I know some people were kind of frustrated with not having an overlay map, but having this little line on my mini-map allows me to just pull my eyes up to the top of my screen every once in a while and go, yep, I'm still on the right path, I'm good to go, right? So that's tip number 1, is just right-click wherever you want to go. You can click it anywhere for any little quest that you're trying to get to. A new undiscovered area, you've never been there before, just click like this, and you'll be able to, you can take yourself right there on the most efficient path. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be gold. One thing that I was doing a lot on the first day of playthrough is I was salvaging my gear with the blacksmith. And there's nothing wrong with doing this. It's good to do this because you do need to get iron chunks and stuff for crafting. If you want to upgrade your gear, you definitely need to do that, right? If you want to upgrade, let's say I want to put my weapon in there again. Right here, sorry. I don't know why I just unequipped these. Whoops. If I want to upgrade these, I put them in here. They're going to cost those materials, so I do need to be gathering materials. But likely, in the early game, you're not going to be upgrading gear as much because you just get new gear so often. Like, upgrading is going to come later. So I would encourage you guys to sell your items early on. Why? Because some of the costs of items are completely outrageous, or they seem to be outrageous in the beginning. 319,000 gold, that's a lot of gold. However, you can actually get a lot of gold if you just sell your items. Look at this. So I'm not going to sell that one because these are actually upgrades for me. This thing sells for 5,000 gold, right? This sells for 6,000 gold. This is, I should probably put that on. Yeah, I should put that on. Man, all these items are upgrades for me. This is kind of sad. Here's another one. This sells for 5,000 gold. The point is, these items sell for a ton of gold. And even weapons are way, way better. 8,000 gold, 10,000 gold for this. So you can actually sell a ton of items for gold, and that will help to fuel your efforts in the early game, which I think you should basically, you should use a lot of your gold in the early game to do things like imprinting. I have this weapon here. This is an enormous weapon for my build. It gives me 580 thorns. I get thorns while berserking. With the build that I'm running right now, I'm berserking all the time. So I basically have like giga thorns all the time with my build. Now, in about 2 or 3 level ups, this weapon will become irrelevant. Its damage is going to be too low. It's actually already too low. I have an upgrade for it right now. So what I can go do is just imprint this item. Let's go to the imprinter guy. Yes, over here. What I can do is, as I'm leveling, in the leveling experience, I can imprint items. And it does cost a little bit of gold, but it's totally worth it because I get to throw it on a brand new item that is doing way more damage. This is 69 damage per second higher. Let's see if that's the best one. Okay, so we're going to throw this in. Then I go to my Codex of Power, and I'm going to add my Berserking Thorns thing again. Now we'll get a better item with an even better roll on the Berserking, 660 instead of 580. Now, I do need to go get some crafting materials, so I'll have to go get that in a minute. But it only costs 57,000 gold to imprint this, and all these items are selling for like 5, 6, 10,000 gold, so it's actually not that expensive. You do need to obviously get crafting materials as well. That's fair. I think I have some legendaries that I can go get these crafting materials for. But my point is, use your gold early on. If you find an item that is a core, essential to your build, use your gold. Sell items to get gold to continue imprinting the items onto better weapons so you can continue getting more value out of them. If you find a legendary effect that is like core to your build. I'm not saying do this for every single legendary. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like this one is so core to my build that I need to keep re-rolling it onto better gear. Okay? That's a tip there. Now, I need to go get some crafting materials for that. Now, another one that people don't always remember is to get experience pots. So this alchemist guy, you can upgrade your potion here. That's one thing you should do. But you can craft elixirs. And you can just craft some like weak elixirs if you want to. But you can start crafting better elixirs. They will give you experience. Armor by 200, thorns by 100, 5% experience for 30 minutes. Just go down and keep crafting the weak ones because you're going to be getting 5% experience from all of these. So make sure you're gathering the crafting materials, like the little herbs and stuff, and then go get your consumables. Go to your consumables tab and use these things. 5% more XP on everything that you're doing is a massive deal in the early game. So make sure you're getting XP potions to be leveling up quicker, okay? That's a big one as well. This guy, oh, not this guy, the gambling guy. Let's go to him. He's up here, I think. Nope, he's down here. Here's the curiosities, guys. Another thing is you will find chests out in the open world that are locked. I can't find one right now for you, but I've come across a couple of them. You can buy keys to unlock those chests from this guy, the curiosity guy. Whispering key here at the bottom. Costs 20 of the obols or whatever they're called. Yeah, obols. So you just grab one of those. That's going to be on your consumable tab. I have 2 of them. I would encourage you to always have a couple of these on hand because if you stumble across one of those locked chests, it always has rare items in it, sometimes legendaries. So, and it's just one click and you're there. So I would definitely spend some of your obols on the whispering keys. Now, another good thing to spend your obols on is, of course, weapons are really powerful to try and get, like, fish for legendaries. So I need, like, or if you just have a weapon that's really low on item level, this is 417 item power right now. So it's a little bit lower than some of my other ones. This one, actually, that's my lowest one. So let's try and get a one-handed sword. Always try and look at the item level that you've got, and then use your gambling stuff to try and grab some new stuff. That was a two-handed sword. Whoops. Oh, and I got a legendary. Well, that was very lucky. That was streamer RNG right there. But I want a regular sword. Let's try and get those. I got unlucky. But you might still get an upgrade. I have a 40 DPS increase right there. So make sure you use your obols as you're leveling up. Not only is it going to give you upgrades like this, but it has a chance to give you legendaries like this. And then if you don't even want to use this legendary, you can just turn it into an aspect, right? So you wander back over to the occultist chick, and you can turn this into an aspect now if you don't want to use it right away. So it's always worth using your obols on items, even in the early game, because you can just go in here and extract the aspect like this. I don't actually want to extract this right now, but you can do this. So it's worth using your obols right away to roll that kind of stuff, okay? Lock chest, obols, region progress. Let me look at this really quick. If you hit tab, you can go, it'll show, when you have to be out in the open world, first of all. If you're in a dungeon, this won't work. Make sure you're on the open world map, hit tab, it shows you your progress in this zone that you're in. You can scroll over into another zone, the dried steppes, and it will show you the progress for there in the top of the bar there. Now, if you hit W while you're in this menu, it will bring you to this screen. And this will show you each zone that you have in the top here, each zone that you've discovered, and it will show you your progress. This is really important. This is your renown track. The first 3 unlocks can be done on World Tier 1 and 2. But then once you get to here, you need World Tier 3, which means you basically have to complete like most of the campaign. These first 3 unlocks are really important. They give you a potion, and they're going to give you 2 skill points. The first one gives you a skill point. The third one gives you a skill point. So in the Fractured Peaks, I'm almost at the third one already. Once I get in the Dry Steppes, I haven't even finished the first one, but I'm almost on the first one. But these are huge. Getting these extra skill points is awesome for the very beginning of the build because it gives you, again, of course, a talent that you can put in here. I'm already at the point where I'm at the bottom of my tree and I've unlocked my main passive. But then you can, once you get to the bottom there, you can start investing your points into your big abilities like Death Blow or maybe Double Swing, or start getting really powerful passive effects like all my berserking passive effects right here, or my thorn stuff, which is right here. So you really do want to get these skill points. They're really important. And again, just go to your map, hit tab, and then hit W, and you can see your progress. Now, how do you unlock these? You have to get renown. That shows right down here exactly how to get renown. Waypoints will give you 20 renown. Strongholds will give you 100 renown. Strongholds are huge. So whenever you find a stronghold out in the open world, you really want to go do that. It's got the big red icon there with the skull. They are the most important things to do. And it'll show you how many you've done. In the dry steps, I've done none. In Fracture Peaks, I've done 1. So they're going to be huge. I only need 175 more rep to get my third unlock in this zone. If I just go do a stronghold and a couple of side quests, I'm basically there, right? So you can see the value here. 20 for waypoints, 20 for side quests, 5 to just discover a new area, 30 for dungeons, and then 10 renown for altars of Lilith. But the strongholds is really where it's at. So make sure you go and do those strongholds and get your renown going so you can get your extra skill points in every single one of these zones, okay? That's a big one there. I talked about imprinting. Let's go to the advanced tooltips. So if you go to your options menu really quick, you can go to gameplay. And then right here, it's got advanced tooltips and compare. If you deselect these, your items will look very, very normal. You can see this is not really showing a whole lot. It's just showing what the gear has on it. If I press shift just once, it will do a comparison. If I press shift again, it goes away. You don't have to hold shift. You just press it, okay? Shift gives you the ability to compare, but this is a very basic view of what's going on. If I go into the options menu and enable advanced tooltips and information, this is going to give me properties gained and lost when I'm comparing. And then this is really important. Displays advanced information on tooltips such as the property ranges, so like 10 to 20 damage, lucky hit chance for skills, and indicators as to whether the modifications are additive or multiplicative. This is a really big deal for later in the game when you're wondering about these things. So here we go. We can see the ranges right here. On the bonus abilities, like obviously the damage is 462 to 694, but even the stats, right? It's giving me 18 to all stats. So I can check how high did I roll. Well, it's between 16 and 22, so I rolled right in the middle for the stats. And then I got 44 strength on this one. That's a really high roll. So you can see how highly rolled all the different stats are on your gear here. We can see the basic skills gain 50% attack speed. That is an additive because it has a little plus sign next to it. Multiplicative stuff will look like this. After swapping weapons 10 times, your next attack, will overpower and deal 50% increased damage. It's got an X next to it, which means it's multiplicative. So again, that's more for min-maxing later in the game. But if you want to turn on those advanced tooltips, that's going to help you see exactly what stats you're gaining and losing, and then the actual rolls on the stats themselves. How lucky did you get with those rolls, okay? So that's an important one to know. One quick thing I want to talk about when it comes to imprinting legendaries versus finding legendaries out in the open world. So the aspect system. So we can see right now, if you find an aspect, which, by the way, I believe if you hit Y, that gives you your collections, and you click on Codex of Power. Here's all my aspects. These are aspects that I found while doing dungeons, right? So remember, if you go and do dungeons, none of them are going to show up right now. There we go. So there is, it tells me there's an aspect here. This is for druids, of course, but you can find most of the aspects are in dungeons, okay? Now, once you find them, they go into your Codex of Power. Okay, they're right here. Now, these aspects are essentially the lowest roll of that legendary effect that you can get, because it's a convenient aspect that you can put on any rare item whenever you want to. So the actual roll that you're getting is low, okay? So, for example, 330 thorns while berserking, that's a very low roll on the thorns. If I imprint that aspect on a weapon, it gets an increased effect, because that's what happens when you do it on weapons. Let me try and show you here. Let's do this. So this says 330 thorns while berserking. If I put it on a weapon, though, it gets double the effect. So you can see 660 thorns instead of 330. It's doubled because I'm putting it on a weapon. Amulets are the other item that get increased value if you imprint on an amulet. Now, I'm imprinting this aspect onto a weapon. So it's going to give me 660, but that's still the lowest roll. You can see the range goes from 660 to 990. What that's telling you is that the imprinted version of this aspect is the low roll. If I find this thorns while berserking effect out in the open world on a random drop from an enemy, or while gambling, you can gamble for these items, you will get a higher roll on this thorns legendary effect. So it might be 990, it might be 900, it might be 870, but it will not be 660. Whereas when you're imprinting an item, you will always get the lowest value. Why? Because imprinting can happen infinitely. You can do it an infinite number of times, right? This, oh, no, stop moving. This imprint codex thing, I have these forever. I can keep imprinting on new rare items over and over and over again. So you're sacrificing some of the value of the actual effect, because you're only getting the lowest value, but you're gaining convenience in that you can imprint this whenever you want to. Okay, so that's the trade-off. Either you, as you're leveling up, you can choose to imprint these items over and over and over again and continue to get that legendary effect and continue to get it on stronger and stronger items, which is wonderful. Or in the later portion of the game, you can chase down these items that have these really powerful effects on them, and they will give you the higher roll version of it. So what's cool, what it means is that while you're leveling, you can keep getting legendary effects, imprinting over and over again. Once you get to the late game, there's going to be chase items for you to go get that have the most powerful version of that legendary aspect on them. I hope I explained that well. It's kind of a complicated system, but it's really a convenience thing for us while we're leveling, and then also gives us those chase items later on in the game. So I think it's really, really great. Okay? Very last thing I'm going to tell you is that there are major town hubs in every single zone. So Kiovashad is obviously the Fractured Peak one. Garagar is the main one for Skosgolin. Bardu is the main one for the Dry Steppes. I don't know what the other two are. There's two more. But there's going to be 5 major hubs in general. So your stash and all the major upgrade features are going to be in those major towns. Like all these little towns here, they don't have your stash. They don't have your wardrobe. But there's 5 major towns in the game. So you can, no matter what zone you're in, you're going to have a major town that's kind of close by. Okay? Those are all my big tips and tricks for now that I've sort of discovered on day 1 of Diablo 4. I am so excited, guys. I hope you're excited too. Let me know what you think. Let me know your experiences on Diablo 4 in day 1. Let me know some of your tips and tricks that you managed to find as well. Maybe I missed something that you guys have discovered. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. As always, thank you guys so much again for watching. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.